The reason I don't want to do it tonight is so I can relax, I can recover, so tomorrow I can give more. That was my goal. It wasn't so I could give less. It's so I can show up tomorrow and be better than I would be if I just showed up half-assed. Pardon my French.
Get momentum, and then we get new levels of success. I've talked about this a dozen times, and then we try to sustain it, and then we need a periodic burn down. But you can be proactive about it. You don't have to. A periodic reset is what we'll call it instead of a burn down.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1075, an easier way to express your truth. Today, for episode number 1076, sometimes you just need a reset. So this episode that we are recording, we're actually going to record two today, but the two episodes we are recording today, as of 9:25 a.m. on Thursday, we were supposed to record last night, Wednesday evening. And I texted Alan in the middle of the day, and I said, hey man, is there any way we can reschedule these episodes to Thursday morning? And if we don't get them done, we can do the remainder Saturday morning. I just need a night. I have been working nonstop, and the problem is, it's very hard to explain, but I'm in this avalanche where I can't get all my stuff done during the day, so I end up working late, and then when I work late, I don't go to bed on time because I have to eat dinner and unwind before bed. Then I don't get up early enough to do my work before I start the day and go to the gym. And then everything gets jeffed, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm trying to go to the gym at noon, and it's this whole thing. I said, I think I really need a night to just reset. And Alan said, yeah, absolutely, man. No worries. You're soft. We're going to fail. You're the worst. And no, he didn't say any of those things. I promise. I was actually very, very grateful at how easy it was. You said, yeah, man.
You're lucky I didn't just spit my
that's why I waited.
Zoa all over this
that's
new
why
microphone.
I waited
We're going to
until you were
quick
drinking
300.
Alan said, no, it's all good, man. I already moved it on the calendar. And he said, honestly, and maybe you can speak to this. He said, honestly, Kev, I'm surprised it took this long. I expected that you were going to burn out a lot faster than this with all the shows you were going on. So I told Taryn last night, I think it was in the middle of the day because I told her I was going to text you. And I said, I want to get us food. I want to get us dinner. I want to put something on Netflix. I want to sit in bed, eat dinner, and then go to sleep. That's all I want to do. I just need to veg out. I need to turn my brain off, and I need to get a good amount of sleep. So Alan said, cool, we'll reschedule it. I ordered dinner after the team call. I went and picked it up. We literally watched a Netflix documentary in bed while eating our food, which was the best in the world. And then did we watch something else? Yeah, we watched 2 episodes, went to bed at 9. I got up at 4:45 and I went to the gym, and I've already done 2 workouts. I got a bunch of my stuff done. I showered, I ate breakfast, I had my coffee, the cats are fed, the litter box is cleaned. Like that for me, it's not that I wanted to sleep in and do nothing. For me, resetting means getting back into momentum. That's I think that's my definition of resetting. So it's not that I wanted to sleep in and catch up on R&R. That really wasn't what it was. It was more, I need to put a stop to my day so I can start my day tomorrow correctly. And now I feel on top of the world. And I did an Instagram story today of, I didn't want to go to bed. I didn't want to wake up when my alarm went off. It went off, and it's cold and it's dark and it's so nice in bed, and I know the cats are going to lose their minds when I get out of bed, and it's going to be this whole thing, but I'm so grateful I did. And it was all because I realized, you know what? I can tell through awareness how I'm feeling. I need to reset, and I am resetting intentionally with the goal of getting back after it tomorrow. And here we are recording these episodes, and I think I have 2 podcast breakthrough sessions today. And I think I'm on like 5 podcasts. So today I'll record 7 or 8 episodes, depending on how we do it. And I feel good. I'm good to go.
It's awesome. 2 questions. First one, most important question. When you do watch Netflix in bed and eat food, do the cats snug?
Yeah, depends. It depends. Sometimes they do. Ace likes eating our food, so he will eat anything. The other day, just as a side tangent, I also have my best cat dad ever t-shirt on, so this is very appropriate. Brought the groceries up the other day. when we're unloading the groceries, we put them on the floor and then we put them where they're going, right? I think that's kind of normal.
Of course.
Ace crawls into one of the bags and finds the bread. We got this like nice bread. Tears open the bread and then eats the crust off the bread, all in a matter of 2 minutes. And all you hear is like, you just hear this like, and I was like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Why do you always eat the bread? But yeah, he is a psycho when it comes to that. If I have any food on my desk, he'll eat it. He literally crawls like onto Taryn's lap to try to get her food. Fudge is not that way. Fudge is a saint, but they will snug with us, but it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Are they're brothers?
Not blood brothers, but they've been raised together their whole lives.
Not like us, blood brothers.
Yeah. Not like us. I guess they are. They are basically like us.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my less important question. So I apologize for wasting all the listeners' time. But that is kind of hilarious with Ace.
Yeah.
Just the crust off the. Now you have crustless bread.
He'll eat anything.
All the time.
Any bread. He likes. He loves croissants. He loves bread. He loves pasta. He likes broccoli.
Carbs.
Yeah, he's like he takes after his dad. Takes after his dad.
Except for the broccoli thing.
I like broccoli in carbs.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, in carbs.
The second and more important question. I totally forgot. I've completely forgotten what it was. But here's what I'll share. I've used this analogy 1,000 times. It's really, really important. Phoenix burns down, is reborn from the ashes. I think that all of us get momentum and then we get new levels of success. I've talked about this 12 times. And then we try to sustain it, and then we need a periodic burn down. But you can be proactive about it. You don't have to. A periodic reset is what we'll call it instead of a burn down. But a lot of times, one thing I'll say that I think was intelligent for you. So you had like the sniffles a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
And you were reading the obvious signs of yourself. And this is a self-awareness thing of like, if I keep going this way and I don't take any rest and relaxation, then I'm going to burn down. And then that will be reactive rather than proactive.
I was anxious too. That's like another thing for me is,
yeah,
it's different. It's not like tight chest tightening anxiety. It's more of, I don't know how to explain it. It's mind anxiety of like, there's way too much going on in my head right now. Like I know what's happening here. This is not good. This is not good.
Yeah, and when you get in that place, you feel off center. You feel out of control.
Yeah.
You feel like you can't do well. You feel like you're losing even though you're not.
Yeah.
Everything feels like it's losing even though you're doing fine. Everything's like, my mantra is the sky's not falling. The sky's not falling. Everything's okay. You're going to be fine. This happens to me only when I get poor sleep. When I get poor sleep, I have a really hard time being centered and staying focused. And I think that's pretty universal, honestly. I think sleep is super important. I figured out what I was going to ask you.
And then I lost it again.
And then I lost it again because I've been getting poor sleep. I figured it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Lori Harder, we interviewed her early on. I think it was episode 24. This was very early on. Kevin wanted to jump out the window.
I thought we were famous.
He was so scared.
This podcast thing's easier than I thought. This only took us 24 episodes. We're famous.
It's going to be no problem.
Didn't work that way.
Believe it or not, it was easier to get guests back then.
Yeah.
Kidding. So in order to prep for the interview, Kevin and I watched her TED Talk. Do you remember her TED Talk? It was strength equals time under tension plus the weight of the load. And while I love that TED Talk and I love the concept, because it's not just strength training. She wasn't talking about strength training in terms of the gym. She was using the gym as an analogy for building actual physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. So, and with all due respect to Lori, I think the equation is missing a piece. So strength, I was thinking about this the other day. Strength is equal to time under tension plus the weight of the load. So, for example, Kevin going on doing 90 podcast episodes in 28 days, that's a very heavy load in comparison to what you've ever done before. In the analogy here, it's like he's squatting more than he's ever squatted before. And then time under tension, like how long can you sustain that really before you end up injuring yourself? And so when I had told you I'm actually surprised it took this long, I was wondering when the burn down would happen because it's inevitable. And I think that I talk to Emilia about this all the time. Like, there is no, and I want to give this to our listeners, there is no fairy tale Candyland where you're going to like wake up in the morning and like set your intentions and like go to bed complete and like feel like you had a productive day. It's a spectrum. You're going to have good days and bad days. But you're never going to like wake up, put a to-do list and then like accomplish it all and then go to bed feeling like you like killed it. It's not really real. What is actually practical and real. And by the way, if you were doing that, let's say you had a list of 3 things and you got them all done and you felt good about it, like you're obviously not maximizing your potential because you could have done more. There's never going to be a time where you couldn't have done more. And I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. There's a sweet spot for everyone where the productive output, in other words, let's use the equation. So this is the new equation, Lori's equation, but with my addition. Time under tension plus the weight of the load plus rest and recovery. You need that last piece. You need it.
Yeah.
For me, I've always used movies as my R&R. And I'll listen to, or I'll watch movies rather, that I've seen many times because I already have them memorized, so I don't have to pay attention really. I'll just eat food, and I'll watch a movie, and I'll snuggle with Emilia and Tucker, and that's such good rest and recovery. I'm not using my body, I'm not really using my mind that much, and I'm just eating food and refilling my cup, so to speak. So time under tension, Kev, how many, and for the listeners, I want everyone thinking about their own life here, okay? So this isn't about Kevin, this is about the listeners, but we're going to use Kevin as an example. So how many shows do you think, podcasts you've done in the last, I don't know, couple months?
Oh, man. I don't know, probably 200?
Okay. So 200 that's the weight of the load. So that's more weight that's more pressure than you've ever been under.
Yeah. And
these podcasts, by the way, I used to do podcasts often. They get emotional. They're like draining. It's like hard to like perform constantly. And again, we're not making excuses, but it is difficult. And some of the people in the industry, like Brendan Burchard, it's like, how the hell does this dude just go all day, every day? I mean, when we were at High Performance Academy, he was just on all day, every single day. And he had guest speakers in between, but it's like, wow, it's very impressive. So we're trying to get to that level, of course. Okay, so that's the time under tension. So 2 months is the time under tension. The weight of the load is 200 podcasts.
It's probably 3 months.
3 months. Okay, so the time under tension is 3 months.
Yeah.
The weight of the load is 200 podcasts or so. Rest and recovery. What's your rest and recovery? Because if you don't have rest and recovery, there's no way you could do the other two.
I just wanted to take a quick second and give a shout out and a huge thank you to Next Level Podcasting Solutions, Kevin and his team. They have been incredible to work with, very flexible, on the spot with any questions that I have or any concerns that I have. When I first started out my podcast, I was doing everything on my own. I have no editing background. I have no podcasting background. I knew nothing about it. And so I was bootstrapping all of this myself while I was still trying to take on my role as a full-time mom. And once I met up with Kevin and we had these discussions and I got on board with adding an editing team, oh my goodness, it just lifted this weight off of me. It lifted my time that I was spending doing my editing. And in the beginning, full transparency, when I was editing just my individual recordings, it was a little more manageable, not super manageable. And then when I started doing my interviews for the podcast, it was hours upon hours of me doing the editing that didn't include any of the promotional material that I am now getting from Kevin and his team. It wouldn't have been sustainable. I would not have been able to keep up with that. So I recommend Kevin and his team. They have done wonderful work in helping me grow my podcast. I have really enjoyed working with the editing team, and it definitely feels like more of a team environment versus me hiring them to do a specific job. I mean, we all work collaboratively on the projects that I have. And I have these crazy ideas sometimes, and they come up with a solution to fit my needs. I can't recommend them enough. I really enjoyed working with them. Kevin and the Next Level Podcasting Solutions, thank you so much for the work that you have done in the past and are continuing to do for me. I'm growing this community and growing this platform with a beautiful team that is working for me and with me to see my vision and help that come to life. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate you guys.
It's way less. I mean, you got to think, right? Like, one of the things we were doing the 10 pounds in 10 weeks during this, that was one. Tara and I were prepping to go get married in Colorado, you know, and as much as I loved Colorado, it wasn't R&R. Like, we were hiking, we were driving, we were driving a lot. So that was physically draining. It definitely filled my heart and it was amazing. But yeah, that side of things, where we were talking about this before, there's just so many necessities where it's not like I can just say, hey, Alan, I'm not going to be here Monday and we're not going to record our 7 episodes. Like, that's a non-negotiable. That has to happen. So it's almost like when you have 10 out of 10s of importance in a day, how do you get them all done? And then, like, what falls? For me, it was R&R. Fitness was a challenge. It was like, you know, I'm getting to the gym when I can. If it's noon and it's in between a call, like, I literally 2 days ago, I went to the gym. I texted Laura. So Laura's she's the director of booking. So she's been the one who's getting me on all these shows. She's absolutely crushing it. I texted her and said, hey, I see a pre-call on my calendar, but there's no info. Is this a phone call? And she said, yeah, I'm fairly certain this is a phone call. I said, cool. I'm going to the gym and I'm going to take this call in the boxing room after I do 5-minute rounds in between my next 5-minute rounds. And she's like, yeah, awesome. Sounds good. I had to do that because that's the only way I was going to get my workout in that day. But
how'd it go?
The person never called, so it worked well.
Yeah, it worked great.
It worked perfectly. But I kind of knew that was going to happen. So in my mind, it was like, I'm not going to stay home and wait for this person. If they don't call me, I'm going to be pissed because I would have missed the gym. But it's really that. It's like this giant game of Tetris. Unfortunately, I have 11 pieces that I'm trying to fit into 10 slots. So something wasn't getting done, and it was R&R, really.
I just realized recently the Tetris analogy might not land for the people who weren't born in the 90s.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or the late 80s, I should say.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Tetris is a game that used to be popular in like the mid-90s, where you'd have to take these falling blocks and like fit them together. So essentially it's like a puzzle. So imagine your day as a puzzle and you have to put down the pieces. It can be daunting. It can be difficult. The main takeaway for this episode for me is I had this moment thinking about Lori's TED Talk, and I was like, she's missing a critical component. She's missing the R&R piece. It's time under tension plus the weight of the load plus the right amount of R&R. That equals strength. Because, and you know this from the gym, you can't build strength if you don't have some R&R. Yeah. You know, and you're that's why I do push-pull legs for my regiment. Push is chest, triceps, front shoulders. Pull is back, biceps, rear shoulders, and traps. And then you've got legs, which is quads, hammies, calves, glutes. And I never, ever do. I try to get 2 days minimum in between each. Push, pull legs, push, pull legs, push, pull legs. And so every 3 days, I hit every muscle group in the human body. But I never do back-to-back muscle groups. Yeah. And the reason why is because I need to give rest and recovery. And so the same is true for your mental, emotional, and spiritual development as well. And same is true for productivity, performance, and getting better at any skill. So in this case, we're talking about podcasting. But if you're out there right now, you have to find the balance between being as productive as you possibly can while simultaneously resting and relaxing in between. And what's interesting is you can't go too far on either end of those. No. Because I've gone overly on the R&R side and I've ended up not being productive at all. And then I've gone overly on the productive side and I've ended up burning down, which ultimately is not productive. So yeah, if you're trying to dream chase, which all of our listeners, heart driven, but no BS, holistic self-improvement for dream chasers, you're going to have to master and remaster constantly this formula of time under tension plus the weight of the load plus rest and recovery. And what I will say is that the weight of the load has to increase over time. I remember when 1 episode a week was difficult for you, Kev. Yeah. And now it's, 200 in 3 months. You've grown a ton, but you can't grow without this time under tension and without a heavy weight. So you kind of have to, you can't lift 5 pounds the rest of your life, but you also can't lift 500 right out of the gate. So it's a super important formula that you always have to keep in harmony.
And Lori also said this on our episode. She said consistent 70% days are more impactful than spotty 100s.
100%.
And I love that. I really, really love that. Now, again, there's a difference between consistent 70s and consistent 20s, right? Like you got to understand where you actually are. But even if you were to do the math, okay, so if you do 70% times 7, that's 490%. If you do 100 times 4, if you do 4 100% days, then you're still making more progress the other way. And not even talking about compounding. But yeah, that's the important thing. And then this is the other interesting thing. Your 70%, you become more capable. You can get more done in 70%. And then you level up to 75%. Then you level up to 80%. And that's really the ultimate goal.
And there's one more layer, and then we'll go. Your current 70% is your old 170%.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I want to get to the point. I tell this to my clients all the time. I want to get you to the point. This is next level you. So I want to get you to a level where your new worst is better than your old best. And the compound effect of that, because when Kevin said, what Lori said essentially was, I would rather you do a consistent 70% than a spotty 100. And people might be thinking, okay, well, what about a consistent 100? That's not real. I need people to know that's not a real thing. What is 100%? What does that even mean? Like, give 110%. You know those people that first of all, it's not how percentages work, right? 110%, right?
Wait.
And I've been guilty of that too.
Remember, Alan and I were having this is completely off topic. We were having a conversation, and I was like, dude, fall down 9 times, get up 10. And Alan's like, Kev, if you fall down 9 times, you only have to get up 9 times. And I was like, whoa, no way, man.
Because Denzel Washington's speech, he's literally like, fall down 7 times, get up 8, and everyone's like clapping, And I remember thinking like, if you fall down 7 times, you can't get up 8. You can only get up 7 times, right? And Kevin's like, whoa. Yeah, that's not how it works, but that's all good. So the main point about that last layer there, what is your 100%? I don't think it's possible to give 100% of yourself every single day because this is a sliding scale. We do PPT and we have peak performance tracking with dozens of clients at this point all over the world and the entire team as well. I think it's like 75 or more than that people using PPT, and that's not even including people using the app. So at this point, we've got the data, right? The data shows no one is 100% all the time, and even the people who are could be doing more because they could up the ante and then end up pushing it. And so Kev gets 100% consistently, but he's also not at 100% of everything he's trying to do. He's just at 100% of what's on his tracker.
Yeah, there's
which he purposely.
Yeah, my whiteboard. There's stuff I don't do every day on my whiteboard.
Right.
I just don't have time to do it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. The goal is not to be perfect. I hope that's the takeaway for everybody. It's to make sure that you're consistent. Consistency over perfection. That's it.
Fire.
And don't forget to reset.
You gotta reset.
which was the other main point of the episode.
You gotta reset. Well, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. I think that helps. I know that for me, I would feel bad. Normally, I would feel bad if I said, "Hey, can we reschedule this?" And I think Alan's gonna think I don't want to do this or whatever it would be. But now that I know it's intentional, this is what really helped me. The reason I don't want to do it tonight is so I can relax, I can recover, so tomorrow I can give more. That was my goal. It wasn't so I could give less. It's so I can show up tomorrow and be better than I would be if I just showed up half-assed. Pardon my French. But that's what would have... I literally was falling asleep. I don't know if you noticed this. I was falling asleep on the team call last night. I was like zoning off. Yeah.
I didn't notice. I don't think anybody did.
I was done. Well, I hope nobody did, but... Not exactly.
I had
the
a hard
finest
time with
leader.
that one. I was cooked as well.
Yeah. It's definitely been an interesting couple months for sure.
Well, hell yeah, man.
You dig it?
I dig it.
Next Level Nation. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see we have every single month, we do a virtual monthly meetup. Our next one, how to build your self-belief and self-worth, September 1st, totally free, totally virtual via Zoom. And our goal is to go behind the scenes with our listeners, get to know you at a deeper level, add value, and make it a presentation. It's kind of like a podcast episode, but you can ask questions and you can talk to other members of the community, and it's just another place to connect with people. That's really what we're trying to do. We understand that if you watch this on YouTube, if you listen to this on the podcast apps, you might not know other people who are listening. So if you come into the community and you meet these people, you might have a peak performance partner, you might meet a new friend, you never know what might happen. So please join us September 1st, how to build your self-belief and self-worth.
With NLU available to all of you listeners out there, loneliness in your growth journey is a choice, because there's so many other people that feel lonely that are in this community, and that's really been the main thing. We just got a new NLU team member, so huge shout out to Jessie. And we were on group coaching. We were talking about her inner circle and how she felt so lonely over the last year. And she's like, but that's about to change. That was her exact words. That's about to change because she's now on the NLU team. So being a part of the NLU community is supposed to mitigate the challenges. We can't eliminate them. You're still going to feel lonely at times. You're still going to feel misunderstood by your family at times. You're still going to be misunderstood by people who don't have dreams or maybe aren't chasing them. That's par for the course. But you don't have to be super lonely anymore. You can join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. You can join us on our monthly meetups. You can join book club. There's so many opportunities at NLU that are completely free. Speaking of free, we also have an online course online. It's called the Next Level 5 to Thrive. So 5 C's. The first one is clarity. Second one's commitment. Third one is consistency. Fourth one is confidence. And the fifth one is not choices, community.
Nice.
Community. And then there may or may not be a bonus in there for choices. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. Click the link in the show notes. It's on the website. There's actually 2 courses available. The free one is called the Next Level 5 to Thrive, and you can access that totally free, 5 modules. We worked really hard on that. That was a collective 24 hours of Kevin and I's time. So it's a good one.
And I want to challenge the amazing NLU community. We had like 1,600 of you listen to an episode yesterday. So Alan, we had 1,600 listens yesterday. Nice. I'm challenging you. Maybe you're new and you're saying, you know what, I'm just dipping my toe in. If you've been in the community for a while and you've listened to a bunch of our episodes, at least look at the free course. That's it. Download the free course and see where the value is. There are no strings attached. Right? Like, it's totally free. It's set up that way. We just want to add value. So if you are hungry for more, there is more. And if you've been around listening and dipping your toe for a while, it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about yourself, learn more about how to get to the next level.
And you'll see our old custom podcast studio because we did it in there. That was a full Sunday.
I miss it.
Yeah.
I
Sometimes.
miss the studio. Yeah. Okay.
I don't miss the commute.
I don't miss the commute. Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1077. Alan doesn't even know what we're doing. Here is why many people get taken advantage of. I have some very, very good stories about that, and it all ties into awareness and self-awareness. So I'm very excited to talk about that. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.